Have you ever wondered how different life might have been if you were born in a different generation? Our world is a tapestry of experiences, shaped and molded by different generations. These generations, marked by distinct time frames, are often defined by their unique characteristics and the historical events they've witnessed. First, we have the baby boomers, those born in the years following the Second World War, from the mid-1940s to the mid-1960s. This generation is known for their work-centric, independent and goal-oriented nature. They are the ones who experienced the significant societal changes of the 60s and 70s firsthand. Next up is Generation X, the children of the baby boomers, born between the mid-1960s and the early 1980s. They are often referred to as the Latchkey kids, a generation known for their entrepreneurial spirit, their adaptability, and their cynical outlook on life. Following Generation X, we have the Millennials, born from the early 1980s to the mid-1990s. They are the first generation to come of age in the new millennium, known for their tech savviness, their value for community, and their passion for social justice. Lastly, we have Generation Z, the most recent generation to enter adulthood, born from the mid-1990s to the early 2000s. They are true digital natives, known for their global consciousness, progressive attitudes, and their ability to adapt to rapid change. Each generation is a product of its time, shaped by the social, political, and economic contexts of their formative years. Their collective experiences and attitudes have left indelible marks on our culture, our economy, and our environment. So as we journey through the different eras that have shaped our world, you might find yourself reflecting on your own experiences, your own values. You might start to see how they have been influenced by the generation you were born into. And as we delve further into each generation, you might find yourself asking, which generation do I truly belong to? The baby boomers, children of the post-war era, experienced an era of economic prosperity. Born between the mid-1940s and mid-1960s, they were the beneficiaries of the post-World War II economic boom. The dollar then held a strong value, and the standard of living was high, with affordable housing and a robust job market. It was a time when one could work a summer job and pay for a year's college tuition. The baby boomers were the driving force behind a thriving economy, with their high levels of consumption and investment. They shaped the culture with their love for rock and roll, their fight for civil rights, and their exploration of the final frontier, space. However, their impact on the environment was significant, as their lifestyle was heavily dependent on fossil fuels. The baby boomers set the stage, but what about the generation that followed? Generation X, often overlooked, yet they were the pioneers of a new age. Born between the mid-60s and early 80s, this generation was raised during an era of shifting societal values and economic change. The value of the dollar was dwindling, and the standard of living was a far cry from the prosperity enjoyed by their parents, the baby boomers. Despite these challenges, Generation X emerged as a resilient cohort, often dubbed the Latchkey kids, due to the increase in dual-income households and a resulting rise in unsupervised time. They adapted, learned to be self-sufficient, and in doing so significantly influenced the economy, environment, and culture. They pioneered the digital revolution, introduced the concept of work-life balance, and championed environmental causes. Their cultural contributions, from grunge music to indie films, challenged the status quo and continue to resonate today. And then came the generation that everyone loves to talk about. Millennials, or the digital natives, a generation that saw the world shrink in front of their screens. Born between the early 80s and late 90s, they grew up in an era of rapid technological advancement. The economic conditions that shaped them were turbulent, influenced by the Great Recession and a changing job market. They've seen the value of the dollar decrease, with the purchasing power of a single dollar in the year 2000 now equivalent to about 70 cents today. Despite these challenges, millennials have made a significant impact on our economy, driving the rise of the gig economy and influencing major shifts in consumer behavior. Environmentally, they've pushed for sustainability, leading the charge in renewable energy and conservation efforts. Culturally, they've revolutionized how we communicate, with social media platforms and digital technology becoming integral parts of our lives. Finally, we arrive at the youngest generation, Gen Z, the global citizens, born into a world more connected than ever before. Their economic experiences are marked by a significant shift from the post-industrial economy of the previous generations. The value of the dollar has seen a relative decline, but the standard of living has risen, although unevenly across the globe. As digital natives, Gen Zers have leveraged technology to challenge economic norms, giving rise to disruptive innovations and new industries. Their environmental consciousness is unprecedented, driving a surge in green initiatives and sustainable practices. Gen Z's cultural impact is a testament to their global citizenry. They've ushered in an era of inclusivity, diversity, and social justice, influencing everything from media representation to corporate policies. In essence, Gen Z is the embodiment of a world that's both local and global, a world that's grappling with the complexities of climate change, economic inequality, and cultural identity. Each generation, shaped by its time, shapes the world in return. So, what does all of this mean? How have these generations shaped the world we live in today? Let's take a moment to reflect. The baby boomers, born in the afterglow of World War II, laid the economic and cultural groundwork. They witnessed the rise of consumer culture, the advent of television, and the birth of rock and roll. This generation, more than any other, shaped the modern economic landscape, laying the foundation for the consumer-driven economy we know today. Then came Generation X. They grew up during a time of shifting societal values, experiencing the economic downturns of the 70s and 80s. This generation was marked by a spirit of independence and resilience, contributing to a culture of entrepreneurship that still thrives today. Millennials, or the digital natives, came of age during the internet boom. They've seen the world shrink thanks to technology, and this has fostered a more global perspective. Their impact can be seen in the rise of digital industries and the shift towards a more inclusive, diverse society. And then we have Generation Z, the global citizens. Born into a world already digital, they are true natives of the internet era. They are shaping our culture and economy in ways we are just beginning to understand, with an emphasis on social justice, environmental sustainability, and technological innovation. Each of these generations has left an indelible mark on the economy, environment, and culture. From the consumer-driven economy established by the baby boomers, to the digital industries spurred on by millennials, to the environmental consciousness of Generation Z, the world we live in has been shaped by these generational shifts. The impact on the environment is perhaps most visible, with each generation becoming progressively more aware and active in the fight against climate change. Culturally, we've seen a consistent march towards a more inclusive and diverse society, driven by the changing attitudes of each successive generation. The world we live in is a tapestry, woven by the threads of each generation, and who knows what threads the next generation will weave.